Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been about maybe 2-3 weeks since I last posted, but I can explain. I've been trying to gather up like all this research and just remember the process that I've been going through during my pregnancy. So if you can't tell by the title or by what I'm wearing, I'm going to be talking about life being pregnant, active duty in the military. All right, first thing I want to say, and you guys, I have a checklist, so bear with me. I'm trying not to be all over the place, but I kind of did things a little out of order because I was learning as I went. So just bear with me. But for all of you guys' reference, if you want to double check anything that I've said, you can always look in the Navy instruction, OpNav instruction 6000.1C. C as in Charlie. So I'm getting all my information from the instruction, literally the pregnancy instruction and what I've experienced along my journey. And some things have changed because of new nav admins that came out. So just bear with me on the information that I'm giving. I will give you guys references so you can go look these things up so you won't just think I'm just pulling this out of thin air. But first thing I'm going to talk about is starting from day one when I found out I was pregnant. So a lot of you know, some of you don't. I found out I was pregnant in March, which was, to be exactly, it was St. Patrick's Day weekend. I can't remember exactly what day that was, but it was definitely St. Patrick's Day weekend when I found out I was pregnant. My next step from there was telling my chain of command. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't want to tell their bosses or things like that they're pregnant, but being in the military, you kind of have to. Me personally, I went on ahead and I told my LPO and my chief at the time, hey, I think I'm pregnant. I scheduled a medical appointment. If it's confirmed through medical, I'll have the proper paperwork to route up. But I went on ahead and gave them a heads up, so it wasn't just like I was slapping a piece of paper in their face. That's just me. A lot of people don't do that, so it's totally up to you, but that's what I did. The only person that can confirm your pregnancy is your healthcare provider or your HPC. So if that means you go to a medical hospital or you go to a clinic on base, they have to administer you either a blood test or a urine test, and they will give you a piece of paper pretty much saying, on this day, this service member has confirmed pregnancy. Her due date, her projected due date is this. And I think it tells you the 20-week mark and the 28-week mark. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. And it's all in this little memorandum, and you pretty much just route it up to your CO. It's pretty much all you do. It's like, it's kind of weird because it's like, it's called a pregnancy notification, but it's, the way that they make it seem is like you're asking your CO for permission to be pregnant, and it's like you're not. It's just saying, hey, like, I'm pregnant, just letting you know. That's all it really is, but I find it stupid, but whatever. So that's the first thing you gotta do. Secondly, you kind of just go about your work as usual. Once that pregnancy notification goes in, it does go to your CFL so they can mark you in prims as being pregnant from that day forward. Your healthcare provider can recommend you to continue to do PT or physical training, but your chain of command or your ACFL or your CFL can't. You're pretty much under doctor's instructions from that point forward once you notify your chain of command, but they do recommend that you do stay active because it'll only help you and baby in the end. But they can't force you. So like if you have PT or something, let me see. Certain places are different. So like when I was a CFL at my last command, we had a girl who was pregnant, and we asked her to be at PT, but we didn't tell her what to do. So she would either walk on the treadmill or walk on the track, or she would just do her own thing. But we never made her work out, if that makes sense in what I'm trying to say. As far as this command goes here, they're not making me work out. They barely even make me show up on the days that we have PT, but I do my own form of exercise, like at home and in my free time and with my husband. So it's really up to the command at that point. And like I said, we didn't make her work out. We just, because we were such a small unit, it was kind of like a muster purposes as well. So when she showed up, we were like, all right, you're alive, you're good. Like you're not UA or anything like that. And then the time we were allotted for PT, she would just go do her own thing while everybody else did group PT or self PT or whatever we did as a unit. That's pretty much what she did. So since we're on the conversation of PT, might as well keep it the same. PFA exemptions. So from that point forward, whether you're in the cycle or not, once you notify your chain of command that you're pregnant, whether you're in cycle 1 or cycle 2 of your PFA cycle, they can't really require you to do anything. I'm not going to get into, well, what happens if I've already weighed in and I fail. I'm not going to get into that because I didn't deal with that. There is, like I said, go to OpNav instructions 6000.1, .1c if you want specific details. But I will say you're exempt from PT during the duration of your pregnancy and 6 months postpartum. So from the day that you, not 6 months postpartum, 6 months following your maternity leave. So you give birth, you go on your maternity leave. The day you get back from your maternity leave, you have 6 months until you're eligible to take another PFA. So next thing, as you go through your pregnancy, we all know we do get bigger. We're literally growing a human in our bodies, and your uniforms that you were wearing on an everyday basis don't fit anymore. So once upon your pregnancy notification, some people do it early. Wow. Okay. Some people do it early. I waited until I started, like I waited until I couldn't wear them anymore, to be honest. But the military does give you a uniform allowance, so you can go and buy maternity uniforms so you can be comfortable and wear to work. I didn't get mine until, wow, I felt like I was going blind. I didn't get mine until I hit 4 or 5 months. I feel like, yeah, it had to be like 4 or 5 months. I got pregnant in March, April. Well, I technically got pregnant in February. I just didn't find out until March. But March, April, May, June. Okay, so so it was 4 months. So I didn't file for my maternity allowance until I was 4 months within my pregnancy, because that's when my uniform started to get a little tight. So I talked to my chain of command, figured out what uniforms I needed to get, because although they do give you an allowance and it's different every year, I think it just went up, but I think I received like $360. It might have been a little bit more than that, but I think that's the range that I received for maternity allowance. I talked to my chain of command because I wanted to figure out what uniforms I did need, because I felt like I didn't need to buy all of them. So I ended up, I didn't even buy these actually, but I'll get into that. But I ended up needing these, and I ended up needing the dress whites. I didn't need the NSUs or the peanut butters, for some of you who like to call it that. And I didn't need to buy the dress blues. And I didn't need to buy PT uniforms. I didn't need to buy any of that. All I had to get was these and the dress whites. So initially, I was saving money in the end, which is good, and I'll explain that. So on the base that I'm stationed on, they have a thrift shop, and this is exactly what I plan on doing with these once I'm done with them. Once I'm done with these, I plan on taking them to the thrift shop, so then that way I can help another sailor out, because you can literally go to the thrift shop. If you find something in your size, you can literally take that and use that, and you don't have to pay for it. So these are hand-me-down maternity uniforms, or if you know someone that was pregnant and they're not using their uniform anymore, you can ask them. Some people, they message each other over Facebook and they'll pay for the shipping if they're coming from San Diego to Virginia or vice versa. I didn't have to do that. We had a thrift shop on base. They had a size small. I went with it. That's pretty much how that worked. So I didn't even have to buy these. The only thing I had to pay for was putting on my patches, putting my name tape on. That was it. Just putting on my patches and my name tape on, because I still had my cover from when I was wearing type 1s, and I still had my boots and stuff. So that was pretty much covered. The only thing I had to pay for was the dress whites, which came out to be about $65 for the top and the bottoms, in addition to getting my patches sewn on. Yeah, with my patches being sewn on. So I probably paid about $70 because I also had to get them the pants. I needed the pants to be hemmed at the bottom, because I never really bought uniforms on the uniform website, and none of the uniforms come hemmed. So, which is smart, but I wasn't expecting that. So I had to go and get them hemmed, and I had to get my patches sewn on. So I probably paid about 70 bucks out of the $360 that I received from the military. So I think that's a win in my case, but you know, whatever. I will insert pictures, and I will, actually, I'm going to show you guys what this looks like, because a lot of people are really curious as to how I have so much room in this uniform and this, that, and the third. I also want to say that you can, it's up to the CO's discretion, so it might not be everywhere, but you can definitely wear your pregnancy, your maternity uniforms up to 6 months from date of delivery. So like, if that body doesn't snap back like everybody talks about, and you know, you're still not fitting into your normal uniform, the CO can advise or can approve for you to continue wearing your maternity uniforms until you get back into shape. Only up to 6 months though. So I need to do more research into that, because is it 6 months? The instruction says 6 months from the date of delivery. So that really means 3 months after you get back from maternity leave. That's literally what that means. So if you deliver in December and your maternity leave is all the way through March, and you don't get back to work till April, you have April, May, and June that you can continue wearing this if your CO allows it, to give you time to go and get fit right back into your, I guess, prepartum. Is that a word? Prepartum? Anyway, prepartum uniform. So that's that. So while I'm on this uniform thing, I am going to show you guys, and I'm going to insert pictures of me in the dress whites. I'm not going to do a whole uniform change, but the uniforms are pretty much the same in the way that they're designed. They're just, these are end-ups, those are going to be whites. This is what the uniform initially looks like. I am currently six months and 3 weeks. Yeah, that's 20. Yeah, I'm pretty much 27 weeks pregnant right now. I'm finally able to fit these. They have these little tapes on, well, it's not a tape, it's a button. It's kind of like the buttons that's right here, how you can adjust how thick or how small you need your wrist, the collar on your wrist to be. But if you unbutton this, it kind of gives you a little bit more leeway room. I think right now I'm on the, yeah, I think I'm on the second button, but I can actually go to the first one. I just don't, just because I don't want to feel like I'm squeezed up in here, but you can adjust it as you get bigger. All you have to do is unbutton this, and then adjust it. If you don't need it anymore, yeah, that's where I'm at on that. I just keep it at the second one. That's where it was at when I bought the uniform. I just leave it as is. I don't really mess with it that much. And then you have buttons on the same side here to adjust. This is how I got it. I haven't really moved it. That's probably why it's so big, because I can go to the next one, but I just leave it as is. And then for those of you who are really curious, this is how it keeps you and baby, I guess, secure. It's like in my opinion, it looks like a kangaroo pouch. Like, I really feel like a kangaroo when I wear this thing, but all this is spandex. For those of you who are pregnant, you know how our maternity jeans are and things like that. So it's the same material that they would do a maternity, like if you went to motherhood or something, like that same thing. The only thing that I don't like about these is I think they were supposed to come with a drawstring to make things, can you see that? Probably not. They were supposed to come with a drawstring to make them like tighter, because before, when I was 4 months and I started wearing these, I couldn't hold these pants up to save my life. Now it's a little bit better, but as you can see, I'm all the way at my boobs, so I still don't really think I can hold these up that well. In addition to that, there's no pockets. Like, the only pockets you have are the cargo pockets. There's no pockets right here, so I have officially resorted to using the breast pockets, because I don't have just the normal pockets that go right here. Why they don't put pockets on these pants, I have no idea. So, like I said, I was trying to stay on track, but I was jumping around. Another thing I'm going to talk about is during my first trimester, a lot of you may have morning sickness. And I just want to briefly talk about this because it's really, really brief. I did have, I don't know why they call it morning sickness. That's so weird. I think it's weird because it happens at random times throughout the day. It's not just during the morning. It's all day. But anyway, I kept my chain of command very in the loop on how I was feeling, because it'll be times I just randomly will be in formation and I felt like barfing over everybody in formation. I literally had to fall out of ranks because I felt sick. So I kept my chain of command in the loop. I did the best that I could for work purposes to subside my morning sickness. Like, I ate the ginger candies, I had ginger ale, I tried water. I tried my best to bring things to work to help me work through the morning sickness. But if it ever got to the point where I couldn't stand it, or I couldn't, like, I just couldn't deal. And like I said, every chain of command, every base, everybody is different in this situation. They did allow me to, they would just send me home early, because a lot of them, even though military is male dominant, a lot of them have wives and kids of their own, you guys. Like, just trust that they're not all jackasses. Like, they let me leave early for the days that I just couldn't deal anymore. But I did try before. I would just say, I can't take it anymore, I gotta go. Like, I would at least work a little over half a day before I was sent home, because I couldn't subside the morning sickness. So that's all I'm gonna say on that one. There's no instruction on that. I'm just saying I kept my chain of command. I kept my chain of command in the loop on how I was feeling throughout my pregnancy, because I felt like that made my pregnancy a lot easier than what it could have been if I tried to keep my business to myself in a way. Anyway, everybody's a little different. So now we're on the last part of this leg, thank God, because this is a long video. So So now we're going to talk about some of the benefits of being pregnant while being active duty in the military. And again, I'm only talking on an active duty standpoint. I'm only talking on my experience because I don't know the reservist side. I don't know the cell res side. I don't know that stuff. I can only tell you about active duty. But what I can tell you is, so if you look up, and I'm going to put this down below, BUMED instruction, so that's BUMEDINST instruction 6000.14a. It talks about breast pump, and there's a lactation and breastfeeding instruction as well. But pretty much being active duty military, they kind of encourage breastfeeding, and in doing that they pay for electric breast pumps. It's just that simple. I find that to be a really good benefit because if you look at those breast pumps, they cost a good chunk of change, in my personal opinion. And being that the Navy will literally give me a voucher to go out and buy one instead of me having to spend my own money to get one, I think that's a really good benefit to look in, especially for those moms who want to breastfeed, especially after you get back from maternity leave and stuff like that. Certain people stop at certain times, whether it be 3 months after, a year later, or however long people go. I think it's a good thing that the military will support you in your decisions, especially because it gives a lot of health benefits to the baby. It keeps them from being sick a lot, which, in my opinion, if you read the instruction, it sounds kind of selfish on the military standpoint. They talk about the health benefits of breastfeeding your baby, but it also talks about how they benefit from it. So like they always say, like, breastfed babies are less likely to get sick, which keeps service members less likely to have to take off work. So just read up on the instruction. But active duty, we do get breast pump vouchers, and you get to, like, it's not just a certain breast pump, like everybody has that standard one. They give you options, so you pick the one that's best for you and your family, and then you just use the voucher. Either you go get it yourself, or you can get it through Pumping Essentials. It's an online website through TRICARE. And I find that is really easy. I need to order mine myself because I just need to order mine. I'm really lazy, but I think that's a really good benefit for being pregnant while active duty in the military. Another benefit is our maternity leave. Now, I haven't been a civilian. I haven't been pregnant as a civilian, and I'm pretty sure the civilian world doesn't give you 3 months maternity leave. If they do, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they do. The military gives you 3 months from the day that you are from the day that you and the baby is discharged from the hospital for maternity leave. And I think that's really important. There's a new NAVADMIN, NAVADMIN 151/18, where it kind of goes into more detail. It also talks about paternity leave. Paternity leave changed from 10 days to now 14. So go check that instruction out for those fathers out there, but definitely for the mothers. They talk about the 3 months and how now you can take them separately. So you can take them at 2 6-week increments, where you can have maternity leave for postpartum for 6 weeks, and then you can have maternity leave for 6 weeks for finding childcare. I'm not gonna get too deep into that because obviously I haven't went through that yet, but we will go more in detail on this journey together, and I will talk to you guys more about my life in the military postpartum, because I'm going to talk about the I'm just gonna talk more about it once that time comes. Like, I probably won't talk about it immediately after birth, but I'll probably talk about it in the coming 2019 when I'm actually back at work, and I'll tell you my struggles, advantages, disadvantages, the how easy it was to breast pump at work, or breastfeed at work, or use the pump, and things like that. I'm just gonna talk about it as I experience it. I don't want to give you guys too much information. This video is probably already long enough. For those of you who have stayed this far, you the real one. I hope this video helped you guys out a lot. I know this journey has been a learn as you go process, kind of like my whole military career has been a learn as you go process. But my goal is to hopefully make this process a lot easier for someone else. With that being said, if you could like this video and give some comments down below, leave suggestions for video ideas that you want to see in the near future. Again, I'm going to say I am 27 weeks pregnant. So I'm coming up on 7 months next week. Yes, next week. I'm coming up on 7 months being pregnant. So, there will be a second trimester update in the near future. There might be a baby shower video in your near future. Just stay tuned. And again, leave comments down below. Let me know how you guys like this video. And we out.